Hello everybody, I'm Brent, and welcome to episode 4 of Solo TV. Today, we have an interview with Vansa, the CEO of OMG Network. Plus, we'll be answering your most Googled Bitcoin questions, looking at our top 3 digital assets of the month, and of course, news and market updates. So, let's get to our first segment and find out what's been happening in the news. Solo reached another all-time high of 87 cents. Polkadot has climbed 10% to reach number 5 on CoinMarketCap. Binance Coin has also shot up the rankings, overtaking Chainlink and Bitcoin Cash. In the last few days, the price of Bitcoin has held steady above $10,000 after dropping from $12,000 earlier this month. The Bitcoin Association of Hong Kong has used donations to buy advertising space. Billboards and double-decker trams have been covered in Bitcoin logos to raise awareness of the benefits of the coin. These ads will run until October. Ethereum gas fees continue to rise, with miners receiving a record $500,000 in 1 hour earlier this month. The decentralized finance sector continues to push the Ethereum network to its limits, with congestion leading to higher transaction fees and longer wait times. These issues pose the question: how scalable is Ethereum? The United States Internal Revenue Service has announced a bounty of up to $625,000 to anyone who can break untraceable privacy coins, such as Monero, as well as trace transactions on Bitcoin's Lightning Network. This grant will allow applicants to develop their prototype into a working concept over the next 8 months. Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong alleges that Apple is deliberately blocking development and innovation in crypto to protect itself from competition. This comes after Apple prevented Coinbase from adding 2 functionalities to its iOS app that would have allowed people to earn money using cryptocurrency and access DeFi apps. Popular crypto analyst Crypto Whale predicts that XRP will skyrocket once a comprehensive legal framework is in place in the United States. They said, the only project in the entire market that is pushing for crypto regulations is XRP. They know that once these regulations are added, it will completely annihilate almost every other altcoin. Ripple product designer Craig DeWitt announced that PayID has become the most widely used method of generating payments with the XRP wallet known as Payburner. According to Ripple's product director, over 1,000 PayIDs have been issued since the product's launch on Payburner. And that's all the news for this week. This video is proudly brought to you by Sologenic, the first major DeFi ecosystem on the XRP blockchain. It's time to take a look at the digital asset profiles of the month. Here's what we're looking at today. Solo coins are issued on the XRP ledger, allowing liquidity to be moved almost instantly. The Sologenic ecosystem aims to eliminate entry barriers for individual and institutional crypto investors, allowing them to trade non-blockchain asset classes such as stocks, ETFs, and commodities with one single cryptocurrency, Solo. The coins will enable people worldwide to buy and sell stock in their favorite companies with Solo without the need for traditional brokerages. Digibyte is a cryptocurrency released in 2014. There are no pre-mined coins, and it's built on the Digibyte blockchain. Digibyte has several projects, including DigiAssets, which can be used to securely represent anything we find in the physical world, such as real estate or cars, and DigiID, which eliminates usernames and passwords, making website sign-in effortless. Mimblewimble originated as a tongue-tying curse from the Harry Potter series. Now, it's crypto. The Mimblewimble white paper, published in July 2016 under the anonymous author name of Tom Elvis Judasor, the French name for Voldemort. Privacy without sacrificing scalability is the primary advantage of Mimblewimble. You can send and receive this cryptocurrency anonymously. You can trade Solo, Digibyte, and Mimblewimble on CoinField right now. Go to www.coinfield.com and sign up today. Now, it's time for our interview with Vansa, the CEO of OMG Network, which is a decentralized scaling solution for Ethereum. We were really excited to speak to Vansa and learn more about OMG, so we hope you enjoy it. Here it is. So here we are with our interview. Really excited to have this. And to start off, could you please introduce yourself and tell us how you got involved in blockchain technology?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me today. Super excited to be here. So my name is Vansa. I'm the CEO of OMG Network. I'm based out of Bangkok. So how I got involved in blockchain technology. So I think everyone has like their Bitcoin story, right? That leads them down the wider blockchain space. So the first time I heard about Bitcoin was actually through working at the World Bank. I was working in public infrastructure financing. And I think it was like 2012 or 13. I had started working in Myanmar in 2011, but I think a little bit later into the time there. This was still when Myanmar first reopened as a country, right? And so we were at the World Bank, we were having difficulty like dispersing funds out into the countryside because the World Bank lends money to countries. And also for people like me working abroad, we were having difficult time just getting like petty cash just in and out of that country itself, right? So a family member of mine actually told me to look into this one person in Yangon, and they were like a single man crypto exchange at that point. And you can give him cash and he converts it to Bitcoin, sends it over to another exchange in Thailand, and then converts it out, right? So all of this was done in like minutes. And then it was like really, really cheap back then. And the fact that no one can shut it down, right? So the whole thing about like censorship resistance money, the idea of non-nation state corporation of any third party has the power or control over who transact and who stores their wealth and how, in that sense. Like the idea of accessible and fair financial infrastructure, I thought was like the most fascinating, exciting thing. After a couple of years, I actually came back to Thailand. So I was based out of DC at the time and doing time in the region. So I relocated back to Bangkok, was starting a P2P lending platform. And that was how I stumbled into Ethereum. And what I really liked about it was the ability that you can program things around all those censorship resistance and like the open value we talked about. Right. So I'd heard these two guys, Jin and Donnie, they'd founded a payment gateway company. And I think it was about 2 years in, they started experimenting with Ethereum for their payment stack. So I actually tried to poach some people in their company that were working in the Omise blockchain labs. And then eventually got poached myself because I think we just realized that both parties, like both of them and myself, needed an infrastructure that is faster and cheaper than where Ethereum is going to be, right? And we can talk about this a little bit later, where all the congestion is, I think gas price today was like 400, 500 Gwei. So you can't build financial services on that type of infrastructure, right? You need to scale it.
Well, that's a really fascinating story. Sounds like it was a lot of the practical application that drew you in. So that actually leads us into talking about the OMG network. So could you give us an overview of that?
Yeah, so the vision of the business itself, right, is we want a world where people have the options and the ability to transfer money globally without restriction. So I think there's two theories or two kind of theses that feed into this. One is, of course, the world's becoming more globalized, right? But specifically, we think that in the near future, the definition, the form, and the way that we use money is going to change, right? And you already kind of see this with the CBDCs, the stable coin, and even non-tokenized asset like the LETs, like the local currency schemes that are happening all over the world, right? And you also see it with loyalty points. Things that you don't think is money is actually money. So if you look at the history of money, every 50 years, the form tends to change quite a bit. And so we think that the next form is going to be these tokenized assets. And the current payment system that our sister company, Omise, operates on is not going to be enough to satisfy a new market. And so OMG Network was really founded to essentially build this new infrastructure that handles any form of digital values.
So you mentioned Omise, and the business was recently rebranded from Omise Go to OMG Network. Can you explain a bit about why you felt this was the right move going forward?
Sure. It's really bad, and I think our comms team like cringes sometimes because I still say Omise Go. So we rebranded about 6 months ago, maybe almost a year now. But Omise Go was a great name to start with because it kind of captured who we were in the early days, right? We were a spin-off of Omise Payment Gateway. However, over the past 3 years, our team actualized what we call More VP Plasma, which is a construct of OMG Network, which was, it was a theoretical white paper 3 years ago, right? And today it's production ready, it's out in the market, it's being used. And so I think the rebrand to us was just a next stage type of messaging. But also we wanted to really signify our commitment to the network. It's our core product. And so we wanted to really double down and say, okay, let's rebrand, let's like get behind this network and branding.
Now, you were talking about congestion before. So Tether was recently integrated into the OMG network to reduce congestion on Ethereum. Can you tell us about this and what are the benefits for users?
Sure. So by migrating USDT value transfer from main chain, from Ethereum main chain onto the OMG network, Bitfinex saves costs, drives performance improvement, and relieves pressure on the root chain network. Right. So we've said this before, where we see rising tide lifts all boats. And so this is one of those things where if you can move congestion off of the main chain, you free up that space for things like DeFi, things that actually need main chain operation to also flourish as well. How it works with USDT is the user process USDT transaction on the OMG network, and essentially they can do the transaction as low as a few seconds and also a third cheaper than Ethereum main chain today, with all the same level of resilience as Ethereum network itself. And then what's more is on the processing transaction on the OMG network, that reduces Ethereum congestion. We can also connect not only with exchanges, we connect with custodians, we connect with wallets, and we can support certain decentralized applications as well.
Moving on from that, now Plasma is something that you've been working on for a long time, which is a scaling solution for Ethereum. So can you tell us what that is and what are some of the challenges it solves?
At the highest level, Plasma is an off-chain scaling protocol, and it's predicated on creation of a child chain, in this case, the OMG network. So the child chain batches transaction and then commits it to Ethereum, right? And this is how we get to scale. So the OMG network relies on Ethereum as like what we call an ultimate arbiter of security. So backing up one step, right? There are many flavors of Plasma out there. And the flavor of Plasma that we use is called More BP. And the objective of this construction is to achieve higher transaction throughput at lower cost while maintaining the same security guarantee as Ethereum. That was kind of the entire goal around the design itself. So if you're familiar with the blockchain trilemma, so you got scale, security, and decentralization, right? And you really can only tinker and optimize for 2 out of 3. You can't do all 3. So this construction optimizes for scale, and then it maintains security itself. So with the OMG network Plasma, the protocol fits together in a product that we call like a trustless centralized transaction processing service with decentralized security. So I'll break it down for you because it's a mouthful. So when we say decentralized security and trustless peace, we include this non-custodiality to it, which is what people like about blockchains, right? But you use the centralized transaction processing to scale. The most complex piece of Plasma framework itself is the trustlessness aspect, right? So what we mean by trustlessness is when something goes wrong in the child chain, your funds are safe. And the user of the networks don't need to trust the network operator when they transact. So that's the trustlessness side. They can essentially just interact with the plasma chain and the root chain to claim their funds if something goes wrong. So that's like the high level of kind of Plasma and OMG Network in a nutshell. And we think it's a good construct to solve for essentially these faster and cheaper transfer of digital values.
All right. Now, what are some of the challenges for the OMG network, and how do you plan to address them?
The challenges, many challenges. There are many challenges in blockchain. I think the challenges are really fun, right? Because you're kind of at the bleeding edge and you're learning with everyone else. I think specifically for us, the things that keep me up at night more than anything is, I would probably put them into 3 buckets, right? So the first one is the obvious. Blockchain changes really quickly, and so a risk is you miss out on the trends, right? But I think for us, this is kind of a low risk because as we see the past month as well, congestion just keeps getting worse, right? And so this is only beginning. I think it's going to get even worse in there. I think Gwai today, like we talked earlier, it was about 400 or 500 Gwai. I remember a month ago, we were complaining when it was like 80 Gwai to send ETH, right? So it's only going to get worse. So I don't think that the trend is going to be as much of a problem, but it's something that we have to, of course, think carefully, strategically from a business angle. The second challenge is, can we convert accounts? Because we're a B2B company. Infrastructure is a sticky business. And so what that means is when you sign on, usually you sign on for a pretty long time, right? And so it's about getting those customer first or timing of getting those customer. Because if we miss one, we might not have a chance for several years down the road. So I think I would put that as like a medium risk or medium challenge for us. And then I think the third challenge is competition. But I think there's enough pie to go around, and particularly even just in the Ethereum space, right? We always say that scaling comes with trade-offs, and there are multiple companies working on scaling solution. But we're kind of one of the only ones out there right now that are fully production ready, right? And we're focusing very specifically on value transfer and payment use case. So I think keeping an eye out on what new solutions are coming in, and really also how do we interoperate with other layer 2s? Because I don't think it's going to be one solution that satisfies all of the things that you can do with crypto today. I think it's going to be multiple solutions, and they'll all have their own trade-offs and like their own niche. So I think the challenge there is going to be, how do we all kind of work together, or how do we connect?
So you really spoke well to those problems. So what would you say does the future hold for OMG? Is there anything that you're looking forward to on the horizon?
Yeah, so the Bitfinex integration was just a start, right, with our series of exchange and wallet integrations. So I am not allowed to talk about specifics on those right now. You're going to have to invite me back. But I think we're excited about the partnerships that are in the pipeline. I think on the research side, we're also looking into several areas of research improvements. So things like fast exit, privacy transaction, token utilities. I think both on the business and the technical side, there's a lot of really interesting stuff going on. And you can follow the research and the technical work, I think, through our GitHub as well as through our developer portal as well.
All right. Is there any last words you want to say about OMG, or where people should be looking to find more about the network?
Yeah, I mean, we have a thriving community. I think one of the fun things that we've released recently is this Reddit community point engine. And so I wanted to just take a time to share quickly that that's available. It's a live product. It's running on our main net. If people are interested to try out OMG Network, I think that's an easy way to start experiencing what a layer 2 feels like. So I think you can head over to our website, and there should be a direction in terms of how you download it and try all that stuff out. We have Reddit channels. We have our Telegram group, as well as the official website. And so if you need more information, feel free to reach out. Our team's great and they'll be there to help you.
All right, well, thank you so much, Vansa. We really appreciate you talking with us today. Now, I'm going to answer some of your most Googled Bitcoin questions. If you've wondered what all the hype about Bitcoin is and want to know more, this is for you. Does Bitcoin mining damage GPU? Overheating can damage your GPU, so be sure to clean your PC, keep it cool, and avoid overclocking, which means to push it beyond its limits. You don't need 60 FPS for mining. Does Bitcoin have a future? Some say there is no future without Bitcoin. It continues to die, but rises again and again, like a zombie. Does Bitcoin have value? Yes, according to the market. Can Bitcoin be traced? Yes, it can be traced, but privacy techniques can be used to make it less traceable. Why is Bitcoin so volatile? Unlike traditional stocks, Bitcoin price swings are dependent on the forces of market demand and supply. Therefore, extreme swings can be seen because there is no central bank that intervenes in the market to keep price stable. Can Bitcoin hit $1 million per coin? Yes, if the demand for Bitcoin rises. Do you want to be left out? Start exploring the new economy with CoinField. Depending on where you are in the world, you have a few ways to choose how to send and receive funds from your bank account. Go to www.coinfield.com to get started. Well, there you have it. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Solo TV. Thanks to Vansa for being our guest today. And join us next time for another Solo TV episode. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can also head over to Twitter and check us out at Real Sologenic and at Go Solo TV to get all the latest Sologenic updates. See you next time.